Hello, everybody. Welcome to It's All a Work. Today we are joined by the usual Hanji Manji, who just made it here. We didn't know if he was going to be able to make it. And then over here, the awesome Dreshin. And we're coming here today to bring you our opinions, our thoughts, our review on SmackDown from this past Friday. And if we have time, a little bit of news, and then an update on what's going on with It's All a Work. So, SmackDown last Friday, let's go ahead and talk about it. 2-hour show, obviously. We're going to open it up with a trailer recapping what happened, mainly with The Rock in the Bloodline, and Cody Rhodes, and Seth Rollins, and the challenge, and them saying that they're going to be here, and, all the good stuff, hyping up the show. Then we move on to The Rock showing up in a shitty-looking Ford Ranger. Pardon my language. It's been a weekend, y'all, so we might have to up the age restriction on this one tonight.
Hey, let's do it.
so The Rock, as soon as he gets out, he's flanked by security guards. We then go to Roman walking through the building, and he's flanked by security guards, and he's kind of laughing about it. We see Seth and Cody are in the building, and they're greeted by Nick Aldis as they're walking down the runway, kind of, not the runway, but the entrance, I guess you would call it, a hallway. And they stop, they, look at each other, Nick Aldis and, Rollins and Cody look at each other, and security surrounds them. Presumably, I guess, to make sure that they don't get into mischief, I guess, is the idea here. So, honestly, kind of interesting. That's a very old school approach, right? The whole surrounded by security guards. That's the old school Stone Cold feel.
We haven't seen that in a while. I think that was around the last time, like, the security, like, they'll normally have like 3 or 4 security guards, but to have that many for XYZ people, that's a little different. That's something we haven't seen in a while, like you said.
Yep, definitely getting the hype up. So moving on to the next bit of hype that people over 25 don't care about. Logan Paul comes out, and we have the Logan Paul segment.
Also, someone no one cares about.
And he says that Dallas is his cities of firsts. And then he just goes on to say, I had my first match in Dallas. And then he says that he's in WWE not to take part, but to take over. He claims that he's the secret sauce to WWE's success in the last recent months. And I think he's been with us for like 2 years now. So it would be the recent years. And then he announces the new deal that they have come up with, that TKO, WWE, and Logan Paul Prime, his company Prime, that he owns with KSI, that they've kind of come up with. And this is that on every PLE, we will have a gigantic, stupid-looking Prime bottle in the middle of the ring.
I could care less.
Yeah,
I honestly could care less. It's like
a sponsorship. It's another day in the neighborhood.
Right.
All right, cool.
And he is right.
I mean, it kind of.
Go ahead, Dresh.
Go ahead. Say it kind of sucks that now we've got. You can't talk shit about Prime at all. Nobody it's in their stuff. Also, every friggin', it's all you're gonna see. You're not gonna see wrestlers with Gatorade or anything like that anymore. The contract makes them the exclusive hydration drink for the WWE. So I assume even at events you ain't getting Gatorade anymore. You're stuck with Prime.
I got a question. Has either one of you tried Prime?
I have, and I'm not a fan. It's got an aftertaste to it.
It is straight like sugar, like what is it? Corn syrupy taste, aftertaste. I was like, what is this garbage? Like, what? Why?
I've never
It
tried
is.
it, but it's billed as a like Gatorade alternative, right?
Yeah,
Yep.
it's alternative. You get your electrolytes.
Yeah, so I never tried it. I saw it in the stores, and then when Logan Paul joined the WWE, I kind of made a vow to never try it. So it will never.
It also, the contract also gives them, sponsorship rights for different matches. So now we're gonna get, Roman Reigns versus Cody Rhodes, brought to you by
In the prime bottle match.
Ugh.
and they also get to continue to do the presenter stuff. That's thrown in there too. So they get to, have KSI come in as a presenter every now and again. They can bring, if Logan's not wrestling, he can sit ringside and be a presenter. And certain stars, it does say social media support from WWE personalities. So now you're going to see, once again, your favorite personalities on an X or whatever hawking his product.
Yep.
Ugh.
Which is also why you saw Randy Orton, and we'll get to that in a second, but you saw Randy Orton when he was about to, or after he RKO'd KSI, he took a drink of it and he was like, oh, this is actually really good. And then he dumped it on KSI.
That man lied. I ain't never seen such good acting. That man lied.
So-
Good. I'm sorry.
So yeah, for WWE, this is a first, and it's a very, it's a big deal for them. It really is. I'm not a fan of it, but I understand how literally millions of people are going to be excited about this. Not for me, but it's for millions of people. So whatever, that's fine. So anyway, so after he makes the announcement, he calls out KSI, and we'll go through it real quick. Obviously, as they go for this picture, he was like, "Oh, we need to take a picture," and he does his heel work where he's like, hey, I'm about to make all you famous behind me. I might tag you, but I probably won't. And then, Randy Orton's music hits, and, they're waiting for him to come out, and Randy Orton comes from under the ring, jumps in, goes for an RKO on Logan Paul. Logan Paul gets out of the ring. KSI is an idiot because he just stood there. All this ring rumbling, and KSI is just looking. He's just like, who's coming out of the entrance? Who's going to do it? Like, it's ridiculous. And, anyway, eventually KSI realizes what's happening to him, accepts his fate. He actually pissed Randy Orton off, I think, a little bit, because Randy Orton had to grab him and turn him around. Like, I think KSI was just supposed to turn around and he wasn't doing it.
I mean, maybe, but I can't lie. He sold the hell out of that RKO.
It was good.
He sold the hell out. It was a good sell. I can't on that. But maybe it was. Look, maybe it was a shoot RKO for real. That's why it looks so real.
Maybe. I hope so. I hope he did a shoot RKO on him. That'd be great. So then obviously he takes the drink, says it tastes good, and then he pours it on KSI's crotch. And I know that I'm nitpicking, and I know that I am trying to see a lot of this. I mean, pouring it on his crotch, that's Attitude Era style stuff, man. I think, with The Rock on TKO and now Triple H and obviously The Rock are probably working hand in hand, I think, a little bit, right in these shows. I think we really are going to see more PG-13, and I think that, I think that we've had our PG era, our cartoon era, right? The 80s and the early 90s were the cartoon era, and then we went into the Attitude Era and the Ruthless Aggression era, and I think that now we went back to the cartoon of our time, which is the PG era, and now we're slowly going into whatever the new Attitude Era is going to look like. I really do think that's coming, and it's going to be awesome. So anyway, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Moving on. WWE has 100 million subs.
On YouTube.
Yeah, on YouTube. That was announced, and I heard that, and I said, you know what, WWE, we're right behind you. Speaking of which,
what's interesting with that is Paul made a TikTok showing off the YouTube button.
He did.
He didn't make a YouTube short. He made a TikTok.
He made a TikTok.
That
So they're
is
coming
hilarious.
for TikTok too.
Well, hey, they hit 100 million on YouTube, man. They got to move to the next platform, which is TikTok. So that's one platform
Good
we
on
have
them.
yet to go on. I don't think we will. But like I was saying in the chat is our link tree. We now have all of our socials in one place, so we don't have to flood the chat room. So all of that is going to be in one place there, and please check it out. Please subscribe to our YouTube. We have somewhere around 40 people, and honestly, if we had those 40 people over here, we'd be one step closer to affiliate. So if you are watching this right now and you have not subscribed, please subscribe and or follow the Twitch and the Facebook and the YouTube and all that stuff, and get involved in the conversation. We're really trying to build a community of wrestling fans that just want to talk wrestling. So please follow us everywhere and like and subscribe and all the good stuff, and tell your friends about us. Moving on. We get the Bobby versus Karrion Kross match announced for the evening, right after the commercial break, and then from that announcement, we have KO entering the ring, and Randy Orton had stayed in the ring after the RKO, and KSI had left. Grayson Waller and Austin Theory came out, and then KO came out. A very weird way to bring people out, but hey, TV magic, whatever.
TV magic.
Yep. So obviously this is just a continuation of the feud that's been going on between them, the fallout from just different things that have happened, mainly from Elimination Chamber, and then Grayson Waller and Austin Theory making fun of Randy Orton, KO being there because, you know, he doesn't like Austin Theory and Grayson Waller because they're a part of the whole Logan Paul thing. So it all connects. So we start off with KO and Theory, and they have it's a pretty decent back and forth in the beginning. Best part of them two was KO putting Theory in a face lock and telling Grayson that no one likes him. I thought that was hilarious. One awesome thing about KO is he will talk trash in any situation. Even if I've seen him be put in submissions and talk trash to people, and it's hilarious. So an interesting thing about this match that, you know, anyone may have noticed, is they kind of kept to their own fighters. You know, KO stuck with Theory and Randy Orton stuck with Grayson. So I thought that was kind of interesting. I kind of wonder why they decided to go that route. Either way, Grayson gets the... What's that?
I think they're trying to split it up so where inevitably they'll both have their singles match.
At some point.
Maybe I would say maybe Mania, maybe after Mania, could be.
Gotcha.
Could be Backlash. Yeah.
Heard that. So Grayson gets a tag in. KO responds by tagging Randy, keeping, you know, that continuity kind of thing I was talking about. It was really all Orton until a brief distraction. Grayson takes over, and Austin gets a tag in. Randy then reverses a double team attempt, and Grayson gets thrown out of the ring, and KO gets tagged in. So, you know, they go to commercial. During the commercial, Austin and Grayson get the upper hand at some point, and they keep KO in the corner. Grayson ends up getting a tag in and mocks Orton's RKO setup. He misses with the RKO, and then KO tags in Orton. So again, keeping that continuity. Orton comes in and does his usual hot tag stuff. So he runs roughshod on people, clotheslines, kicks, you know, goes for his DDT, you know, that kind of stuff. They end up getting a brief upper hand. KO ends up diving onto Austin to take him out of the equation. Orton gets the rope DDT on Grayson and sets up for an RKO, but Austin gets up, distracts, and Grayson rolls up Orton for a near fall. Austin and Grayson then double team Orton and KO. Austin and Grayson then double team Orton, and KO rolls in, and Grayson breaks off to stop him. He gets a stunner for his troubles. Then Grayson runs over, and KO gets him spun around, throws him over his shoulders, and Randy hits an RKO. KO and Randy win via RKO and they pin Grayson Waller. After the match, Logan Paul comes back to get a little revenge. He does a really terrible double clothesline to them. Like, did y'all see that? Like, he walks in and just does that.
Yeah.
And I was like, that's weak. That is weak. But anyway, they both sell it, and Logan pulls out his brass knuckles. He yells at Orton to get up. He goes to swing. Orton stops him, spins around, gets his arms, takes the knucks off of him, and then he drops the nut. And then he goes to hit Paul. Paul ducks. He almost hits KO. He stops himself. pulls his trunks like out, drops the nuts in his trunks. Those will definitely be used somewhere down the line.
Things stink.
A pretty good match. People are saying that Logan Paul is going to be going against KO, and that's been confirmed. I'm smelling a triple threat. What do y'all think?
They haven't been big on those here recently. I mean, I could see it. It would be a wonderful thing, but the WWE doesn't seem to be as big into that type of match lately. We're not seeing the non-traditional match types as much. We're just seeing, just the one-on-one or the tag teams. Every now and again, you get a three-way tag match, or the six-man tag match. It's just, you're not seeing the old school, hey, let's come up with some weird ass type of match out of thin air, Again, this is from the newbie in the group, but that's what I'm seeing.
I mean, honestly, I think they're possibly building something to it, because when Logan ducked out of the way, you kind of tell it's kind of a respect thing, but, still, like, if you hit me, you know what's going on. You know what's going to happen. Like, you can kind of see that between Randy and KO. So it's more of a, we cool right now. It's a respect thing, but in the near future, it's I feel like it's going to have to be a triple threat, because, I mean, who else would be up for Logan's belt? I mean, those two kind of make sense. They're going after his two Goonies at the moment, so they got to get past them in order to, I guess, get the reward. But I feel like there's gonna be a breakdown in the tag match they're gonna have, maybe again, or somebody's gonna come out and help, and KO's gonna accidentally get hit by the brass knucks and situation like that.
Yep, and I do want to apologize. I misspoke there. People have been saying that it's Randy Orton and Logan Paul set for WrestleMania. So, and I think it would be decent storytelling to somehow weasel KO in there, because KO always has this background story of he's kind of a weasel, right? Like, he pretends he's friends with somebody, and then he turns his back on him. Sami Zayn, Chris Jericho, like, there's a little bit of a list there where he's turned his back on people to kind of get his own personal gain. So I can see him kind of wiggling his way into that match. I think it'd be interesting. I hope it happens, but Dresh, you are right. To your point, they have not done a lot of triple threats, so I hope they do it. Let's move on. So WWE shows Rollins and Rhodes joint locker room in the back, and all of the security in front of their doors to remind us, hey, they're talking later. And the only reason I say it like that is because they showed this crap like 5 times, and here's the thing, I'm not going to mention every time they did it. because by the last time that they did it, I was like, this is okay, we get it. It's not Goldberg, I don't understand. So moving on, we saw a trailer for Io and Bayley showing what happened with Dakota last week. So yeah, they kind of focused on Io and Bayley, and then the betrayal with Dakota, I guess is how I should phrase it. And then Bayley sits down in an interview with Kayla Braxton, says Dakota used their past friendship against her, and that she doesn't know what's real anymore. Bayley says that she created Damage Control, and that she's going to do everything she can do to break it apart. After that interview is over, Naomi and Bianca are talking in the back. Naomi was watching the segment, and she says that she feels bad for Bayley, and Bianca says, don't feel bad for her. You don't know how much mess she created, on SmackDown while you were away. And Naomi says, well, she knows what it's like. She says, I know what it's like to be in Bayley's position. And Bianca ends the conversation basically with I guess I'll say something nice. Good luck to Mania, or good luck to Bayley at Mania, I guess. I said what I said, and then she just walks off. Very interesting. I think this is kind of I think these are seeds for planting some feuds after Bayley wins. I do think Bailey goes over Io. I also have this like little nagging thing in my ear kind of saying that Bailey, as a shoot, Bailey likes to put over talent that hasn't fully reached their potential yet. Not saying that Io hasn't, but saying that, you know, Bailey is a giver. So she might decide to not, you know what I mean? Like not go over.
But when was the last time Io was in a match?
Well, and that's a good point. But I know their thought process on that is that they don't let the champions go fight a lot for two reasons.
Mm-hmm.
One, to keep them safe for the PLEs, but two, when they fight, they make it special. They got that from Brock, and then unfortunately, Brock proved that if he fights 7 times, 8 times a year, he brings in millions and millions and millions of dollars.
It's a draw,
special, you know.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, we'll see. I do think Becky goes, or I'm sorry, Bailey. Put some respect on her name. I do believe Bailey goes over. But we'll move on to Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley for the moment. Karrion Kross and Bobby Lashley trying to put their feud over is basically what this is. It's basically the two leaders of this kind of faction thing going one-on-one. Which tells me we are building to a Mania match, I believe. So Corey tries to hype it up. Calls them two heavyweights duking it out. You know, I will say at first I was like, I don't know about that. And then by the end of the match, I was a little hype. Karrion Kross is a big guy, and I just didn't notice it. Yeah. I didn't notice it because Karrion Kross is not in impeccable shape the way Bobby Lashley is. So they're both big, just in different ways, right?
Yeah. Yeah. Bobby's massive. Like, look at him.
Right.
Muscles he's got muscles coming out of his muscles, like, and he's what, 56, I think? That's what we talked about.
I don't think he's 56. I think he's like late 40s. It's Truth that's old.
Truth is older than dirt.
Well, I mean, Bobby right behind him because they were both in TNA around the same time. Like,
I saw Bobby Lashley wrestle in a high school for TNT Wrestling back in like 2005 or 2006 or some crap like that. Or no, it was 2007 is what it was. Yeah, so
Bobby Lashley is 47 years old.
47 years old. So.
Close enough.
But yeah, so the match itself starts out normally. They kind of work each other to the corner. Bobby gets an upper hand in one corner, then they work to the other corner, and Karrion gets the upper hand in the other corner. Karrion hit like a really good fisherman suplex. You don't see that a lot, which is why I wanted to mention it. He hit a really good fisherman suplex early on in the match. Bobby ends up getting the upper hand after that and takes Karrion to the outside to fight. He gets Karrion like in a Samoan drop kind of hold, and he's going to take him to the ring post, and then Scarlett gets in the way, and that allows Karrion to kind of get the upper hand. We end up going to commercial break after that. We come back. Karrion's in control. And he's got like Bobby in an arm bar to kind of work the elbow injury. I should have mentioned that Bobby did like end up hitting his like kind of arm on the post, and that elbow injury has been like a work they've been doing since before Elimination Chamber. So he's just kind of working that. They end up fighting around for a little bit, doing just normal back and forth kind of wrestling, stomps, stuff like that. And then Karrion decides he's going to take it outside. Bobby immediately gets the upper hand and then actually gets his throw to Karrion against the ring post. They end up working back into the ring, and Bobby misses on his finisher and his submission. Karrion hits him with a good fireman carry slam. Near fall, I believe it was on that. Bobby fights back and gets to the point to where he's about to actually hit the spear. And then AOP enter the ring, beat Bobby down. The Street Profits come out to make things equal. They just start brawling everywhere. Obviously, at this point, the match is over. Bobby Lashley has already won via disqualification. The AOP gets advantage on the Street Profits, takes him out. Scarlett ends up coming in to stop Bobby from doing the Hurt Lock. B-Fab comes out and she chases off Scarlett. And then, AOP ends up getting in there and they do all of their finishers and the power bomb and all this kind of stuff. So I say we're probably going to do this match at Mania. Maybe next week we see B-Fab and Scarlett go against each other. We haven't seen either one of them wrestle in a while.
That'd be a good match. Scarlett versus B-Fab. Let's do it. Now, for this for the WrestleMania match, what are you thinking? You thinking Bobby Lashley just versus Karrion, or are you thinking the groups, the trios tag team match coming?
I'd like to see the groups instead of just Bobby Lashley verse.
Same.
Yeah.
That it would make for. I think it would make for a better match to have all six of them in there at the same time. But who knows what we'll see.
If I was booking it, I would book AOP, Karrion Kross, and Scarlett versus Street Profits, Bobby Lashley, and B-Fab. Night one. Opener for night one. Gets people hyped. It's a bunch of people in the ring. It'll be a crazy match. They've been working their story. It's not a bad story. It's just not the best story, right?
Right.
So it's a good story. It's just not the one that everybody's focused on. Night two, and we're about to talk about it in a second. Night two, I would do LWO versus Legado del Fantasma. Or Phantasmo. I'm sorry, not Phantasma. And that would be the opener for night two. Again, another thing to get people hyped up. As we saw tonight, which we're about to talk about, Lucha Libre wrestling is still alive. Dragon Lee is amazing. I can't wait to get to that match. So, again, I'm going to just breeze by it. After this, there's security outside the locker rooms. All right. Moving on.
Security.
Moving on to Tiffy time, baby. Tiffy time versus Tiffany Stratton versus Michin. I might actually just make a little Tiffy time Stingers transition. I might do that.
I feel like we need to have that Stinger up there. Oh.
Yeah, put it on his face. Like, that's...
I have a problem. I don't know. Whatever. Anyway, Tiffy time.
Just put a giant censored bar on his screen while we're talking about it.
All right. God dang it. So Michin actually starts this one off with a very smooth backslide pin to Tiffany right off the bat to try to get the 1, 2, 3 quickly. And Tiffany responds by kicking out, getting the upper hand, and put it in doing a kind of around the world face in each turnbuckle kind of situation. We say it every single time. Tiffany shows off her athleticism and gymnastic abilities. It's kind of like what I talk about in my interview with Ace Montana. Check that out on YouTube. It's fantastic. A lot of views, a lot of likes. People really do like it. So please check that out. Give it a look. It's kind of like the Hogan Must Pose. Every time she's in the ring, she's got a flip, flippity doodah.
Got a flip.
And and it's good. People like that. And I like it. It's fantastic.
Doodah.
Flippity doodah.
Got a flip.
So Michin gets a suplex after later on in the match. Michin gets a suplex and goes for a Styles Clash attempt, but Tiffany reverses it into a flapjack. Now, the reason I mentioned the suplex in the Styles Clash attempt is because this was a squash match with 3 pieces of offense that was given to Michin. Right? Michin got 3 pieces of offense in. And I agree with this because I do believe that if Tiffany Stratton is going to be big, she does need to squash people. And I think that this squash match was a good squash match as opposed to squashing Apollo Crews last week on Monday. I'm still not over it. Stop squashing him.
Still upset about it.
Like, stop squashing the man. The dude, like, damn it.
Anyway.
I don't.
He at this point he's a jobber. I'm sorry, because he's been squashed for 2 years. Like, ever since he lost the belt, he's been squashed. Like, every match, lose. Maybe a W, like, somewhere in there off of an accident.
Hey,
you know, he got the pin by accident. But
maybe he wouldn't let someone poop on his head in the back. I don't know, but he made someone mad.
Brother.
Someone got upset. He didn't do something or he did something someone didn't like. I don't know. Anyway, so Tiffany wins with the prettiest moonsault ever. She botches the move at first. And I think that it was just a big deal for me to talk about and a big deal for me to see. She botched the move, and instead of trying to force it, she jumped down, started over, and did the move. And you know what? Except for marks like me, no one's talking about it. No one's talking about the fact that she messed up the move. And in professional wrestling, if you're an indie wrestler, or even if you're beyond the indies and you're going to other things, like, if you mess up, no one's going to talk about, at least at length, hey, they messed up that move and then they just started over. Wrestling's fake. Guess what? We all know wrestling is, like, fake to a point. We get it. We know that it's a stage. We know it's a work. You know, make the move look good, do your thing. No one's going to be mad at you. I promise. So, you know, my notes on the match, and I'll let you guys go in as well. I just said it's good to see that people are being fed to Tiffany, because it means they believe in her future, right? But I think that she needs longer matches, and here's why. The fans only know her gymnastics stuff and then the prettiest moonsault ever, and that she's a little strong, right? Well, it's like Dresh was saying, you know, a few episodes. All right, you're big and you're strong, so what? Show me something. Tiffany has come out of the gate and she's shown us some good stuff, but we need to see a deeper moveset, in my opinion. That's my only critique, is I need to see a deeper moveset. What do you guys think about the match? What do you guys think about Mi Chin, if you have any opinions on her? And where do you think Tiffany Stratton is headed?
I mean, I've seen some good things from Tiffany Stratton here recently. Like, watching it, heck, within just the last couple of weeks, per se. You know, I've seen a big difference between what I saw before, which was just them showing her off. She really didn't have an in-depth moveset. She didn't have really good combos, per se. She really didn't string moves together well. And just in these last few matches that we've seen her, it really does look like she strings these moves together a lot better. You know, she has her own personality in the ring. She has her own move set. She's not trying to copy somebody that came before her. She's actually evolving herself and showing herself off. And the whole Tiffy time thing to me still feels very throwback to the Diva era, which I hate for women's wrestling. But all in all, her as a wrestler, I'm starting to enjoy.
Well, I tend to agree. However, I do like for her, I like the Diva kind of background, because, you know, she is a diva. She is essentially a miniature Charlotte Flair, just with a different moveset. Now, I agree with T. I would love to see more in depth of her moveset. So, you know, I want to see her to be able to, like, I don't necessarily need her to do the 60 or the 20-minute or 30-minute Iron Man match like Sasha and Bayley. But, you know, I do want to get some time to see, like you said, a deeper moveset. As far as Mia Chin, I feel like that you know, I guess somebody's got to do it. They're taking her the Apollo Crews way, you know. She's just getting fed to people.
She feels like she's fodder to me for the most part.
Yeah, like if you see a match where Mia Chin to somebody else is going over, unfortunately. It's just like that with Apollo Crews. If you see somebody with Apollo Crews, that other person's going over. It's getting predictable and it's getting sad. Sorry.
Apollo Crews versus James Ellsworth. It's like, it's no Chin MF is going to beat up
He's about to beat Apollo Crews. He's about to kick the shit out of Apollo Crews within one leg.
Anybody watching that, if y'all have any opinions on Tiffany Stratton or anything else like that, please feel free to chime in and let us know. We love opinions, we love questions, we love interacting. Same thing with the Facebook and everything else. We want to interact with everybody and build a community of people who just want to share their opinions and enjoy wrestling as a community. So moving on, we're going to the AJ Styles segment. I figured out where AJ Styles has been, guys. We haven't seen a lot of him before Elimination Chamber. Apparently, he's been in the gym just working on his arms. I don't know if y'all noticed this, but the man's arms were freaking jacked.
That's when he first came back. I'm trying to remember, my brain is like going fart mode. But the day he first came back, I noticed something changed in him because I was like, "That's not the AJ Styles I love." This man is he's a man child now. He's built. He's getting stronger. Like he's trying to be. It's like he's trying to be Little John Cena or something. Like this man's muscles is gaining muscle. I'm like, he looks crazy. He looks crazy now. It's not the same, oh, I'm about to jump over the top rope and hit you with an elbow. It's like, nah, I'm about to power slam you.
Right. So, AJ basically is making this little vignette to tell us why he decided that he was going to attack LA Knight. And no one could come up with anything except for the reason for their first feud, more or less, is that he took his spotlight, or whatever, or took his momentum is the words that he used. He called LA Knight overachieving, under-talented, and a loudmouth who's in need of humbling, and he said that AJ Styles is a phenomenal choice. So we cut to Knight watching the TV, and this poor Vizio TV. I don't know if you noticed it was a Vizio. I saw on the back. This poor Vizio TV, man. He says, "Oh yeah, all right, cool." Picks up the chair that he's carrying around from Elimination Chamber, smacks the TV, tries to get the yeah chant going with the chair. He says he's gonna wake everybody up because AJ just bored them all to death. Beats the TV to oblivion. Says if he was a man, he'd show up next week and all this stuff. So, I'm assuming we're gonna see AJ Styles do something sneaky. I would assume that we're gonna see, Knight in a match, and then AJ Styles.
I don't think he's gonna do something stinky. I just think he's gonna drop in and beat the hell out of somebody. Just because that sounds like AJ Styles here lately.
Yeah,
motherfucker's on a bender.
So he's got the muscle to back it up now. So.
He does, man. And I know that part of it was like he was like this, so it looked like it was all arms. But the his arms are bigger than they've ever been, man. And
he's massive.
I don't go out of my way to notice crap like that. But like when I was watching that vignette, I was like, Jesus, all right, cool.
Man looks like he hasn't gotten off the hub in a month.
Right.
I'm just saying.
Both hands, though.
Well, sometimes you got to switch up. One gets tired, right?
Sheesh.
All right, so we know too much about Dresden's personal life. Moving on. We have another reminder that there is security in the building, and they're all standing at the door. So if you want to break into SmackDown, now's the time because everybody's at the door. And then we cut to Tyler Bate. He is playing 2K24. Pete Dunne walks in and does not look impressed. As a matter of fact, he looks a little bit pissed off about it. And he says, Tyler Bates says, you know what? I shouldn't be playing this game. I'm gonna go talk to Nick Aldis about getting us another tag team title defense, or I'm sorry, shot, and figuring out the tag team title situation in general. As he walks away, Pete holds the controller and he looks at it and he's like, I'm gonna play it. And then he starts kind of playing it. So, I actually skipped something. Very interesting. So I did skip. So we're gonna do Angel versus our Angel with Legado del Fantasma and versus Dragon Lee. So the reason we're doing that match is because earlier in the night they showed that Dragon Lee was kind of walking through the arena, and the LDF, as I like to abbreviate them, came up and basically said, "You're not Rey Mysterio. You'll never be a Rey Mysterio. Rey Mysterio is, gone. The LWO is dead. This, that, and the other." And then he pushes Santos, and then Angel pushes Dragon Lee on the ground. And then that kind of leads to this match. So they come out. Dragon Lee, for those anyone who doesn't know, because I had to figure out where he's been. I do not watch NXT right now. As far as this podcast is concerned, our timing budget allows us to watch Raw and SmackDown and not the other 300 shows that happen during the week. But if we get to a point to where we can leave our jobs, we will happily review every single thing. I swear to God, I will review everything. I'll be on here 5 times a week. It'll be fantastic. But anyway, Dragon Lee's been busy in NXT being the North American champion. And that's why he hasn't been on SmackDown since late December. So he recently lost that belt. But yeah, so now he's back here. I'm assuming he's going to be put into a program with Rey Mysterio. But Dragon Lee, when they get in the ring, he comes out hard out of the gate and hits a double drop kick. Starts just punishing Angel with like these different high-flying moves. Like he's literally jumping around him, like literally drop kicks him, gets him in the corner. I don't even know how he did what he did in the corner. It was some kind of over-the-top rope fly. His foot got caught, and then he like recovered and kicked him. And I'm like, Jesus. So anyway, he's flying all over the ring. He's very, very intense. He's a very intense wrestler. Angel ends up getting the upper hand though, because all this intensity is happening, and he feigns an injury to his knee, and he hits a backdrop kick. Basically, he does a drop kick, but he lands on his back. And then he does like a really intense running knee before the commercial break to Dragon Lee. That spills Dragon Lee to the outside of the ring. When we come back from the commercial, Angel is in control. And Dragon Lee regains control at one point in a very botched spot with a sit-down power bomb. The reason I mention that is because they did a really good job recovering from that, like using each other's momentum to like they were committed to the move. And so you see you saw 2 different ways tonight to handle a botch, right? So they decided to fully commit to the move and use each other's momentum to get the sit-down powerbomb up and execute the sit-down powerbomb. And once they did that, the commentators put them over. Tiffany, on the other hand, just redid the entire move and the commentators didn't say anything. But either way, both went over. So, 2 good ways of how to handle a botch. Or at least in my opinion. Dragon Lee then hits a good dive to the outside. I believe, if I'm not mistaken, it was an over-the-top flip to the outside. He brings Angel back in for Angel to hit a good side kick on Dragon Lee. Angel then goes for a pop-up powerbomb, and then Dragon Lee counters and hits the old-school Rey Mysterio Huracan Rana pin. He just doesn't do it from the top rope. He just does it a standing Huracan Rana and pins him off of it. And Dragon Lee gets the 1-2-3 off of that. After the match, Legado del Fantasma beats Dragon Lee down, and the LWO is not in the building to help. So it just kind of fades away like after that. My notes on the match itself is all I said was that Dragon Lee was a phenomenal talent. I hope we see more of him going forward. The only thing I don't like about this is that we don't have a title for the cruiserweights, and I think that WWE needs to rectify this. If we have these cruiserweights that can move like this, and we can put them in, we can work their feuds correctly, I think that title would mean more. And it doesn't even have to be a cruiserweight championship. We just need another belt that they can pass around. That can be the quick pass around belt, and not like the 24/7 championship, because honestly that was a bad idea. We need a belt that can change hands 2 or even 3 times in a month and it not like be a big deal. Like, we need that belt, and I think that people like Dragon Lee and Santanos and, you know, this other cat Angel, like, all these people can be in that mix, I think.
Wasn't the last time we had a cruiser belt still WCW?
No, it was 2015, I believe, with the purple cruiserweight belt.
Okay, see, that's why I wasn't watching anymore. All right.
Yeah, see, I think we had, what was his name? Neville, and it was some other high flyers that were for that. But they could bring it back.
It was a lot of good cruiserweights they brought.
Yeah, it was a lot of good. And I feel like they could bring that back, honestly. Like, it doesn't necessarily have to be a cruiserweight belt, but I think a cruiserweight belt would do good, because I mean, there's some talent in NXT that can be shown on the main roster, and I feel like a cruiserweight belt will help them, because I mean, I don't think we're gonna see another Rey Mysterio coming in and taking the World Heavyweight Championship belt away from anybody.
Not for a while.
I don't think we're seeing that. So we're not seeing that for a while, like 10 to 20 plus years. I don't think, because Rey Mysterio winning that was a defining moment, and it's just not happening anymore. By the way, Rey Mysterio is returning to SmackDown next Friday.
Yes,
just want to throw that out there, because they announced it right after the match.
And I think that putting Dragon Lee and Rey Mysterio in a match together, like not going against each other, but in a tag match, phenomenal idea.
Yeah,
and
crazy.
Like, because Dragon Lee, I haven't seen a lot of Dragon Lee, I'll be honest. But he impressed me. I can see why Rey Mysterio said that he was the next Rey Mysterio. I can see that. No, I don't think he's going to be out here beating Seth Rollins or Roman Reigns like you were saying, but he is.
Yeah, but like, he's legit the next Rey Mysterio. Because I mean, you want to look back at who they thought possibly the next Rey Mysterio was back then, which is Sin Cara. But this, you see the face? Yeah, I know. But Dragon Lee is for real, so I'm excited to see more of him too. Like, I've watched some of the stuff in NXT, and he's really talented. So
yeah,
I'm excited to see more of his stuff.
Absolutely. So welcome back, Dresh. We then get a damage control segment. Oh, which, by the way, that was our last match of the night.
Yep.
Yep.
Moving on, damage control segment. Dakota Kai says that she's always
Wait, no
been
security there?
What do you say?
I said no security there?
No, there might have been. I didn't write it down this time, though. And this time I know I was frustrated with it. I was like, why? Is this so dumb? But
it's so stupid.
So Dakota Kai says that she's always been the brains of the operation of damage control. I don't know how the other ones feel about that, but you know, whatever. They basically call her stupid for not seeing that they were going to turn on her, and says that she was never in the final plans of damage control. Dakota Kai says, if you want to tear us apart, then prove it. I'll see you in the ring next week. I really enjoyed that they let Io Sky, or Io Shirai, however you want to say it, and the Kabuki Warriors talk. When they speak Japanese and then they put the subtitles underneath, it's badass. It makes them look badass. It puts them over. Like, it sounds threatening. It's fantastic. They need to do it more.
Like Shinsuke. Just like they do Shinsuke, the evil
Shinsuke
Japanese back. I love that. I love it. So what do you think about Dakota Kai being the new mouthpiece now? Because I mean, you called it last week, I believe. They have Dakota Kai there just to be the mouthpiece for English listeners, apparently. But how do you feel about that now?
You know, I'll divert back to what I said last week, or not last week, but last show, and that is they need a live mouthpiece, because now that I know that they can do the subtitles, that's fine. You know, and here's the thing, it's wrestling, it's all the work. All they have to do really is give the production crew what they're going to say, right? If they give the production crew what they're going to say, all they have to do is put the subtitles up while they're talking live. I think Dakota Kai is expendable. I really do. I think
I kind of agree with that, actually.
Yeah. I think the biggest thing that I think Dakota Kai is a pawn for the Kabuki Warriors and the rest of Damage Control. I really, really do, and I think that Dakota Kai doesn't realize that she's in danger.
Because I mean, right now it's just kind of showing her as, oh, you know, she's the new leader somehow. So yeah, I think you're right. You know, the Expendable is probably gonna get tossed out when stuff goes wrong with Bailey, and yeah, it's gonna get ugly.
Yeah, my last note on that was basically that it's really good to see Damage Control getting more hype. It's about time. It's about time that they get some more recognition. So finally, the last security check of the night, thank God. Nick Aldis goes to get Cody and Seth, and they somehow got past security. The security's been bragged about all night, and the security just got buried because somehow Seth and Cody made it out of a room that you would presume was only one way in and out. So they made it past 10 guys. I mean, whatever.
Spoiler alert, they were never in the room.
Yeah, so now Nick Aldis is pissed off and this, that, and the other. It's a very weird thing. It was a very weird thing. When we move into the Bloodline segment, they just come through the crowd. And it's like... It was just very weird. It was an unneeded part of the night, in my opinion.
It was very Shield.
Oh, the crowd thing?
It felt. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I like
it brought
the crowd
you back
thing.
to the old Shield days. As a matter of fact, that was Roman's trick in the Shield. You know? So it might have intentionally been done. Because Seth's very first thing with all this was, I'll be your shield.
Yeah. Absolutely. So then we get into the Bloodline, The Rock, the Seth, Cody segment. 24-minute segment, just about. Last segment of the night. I would say it's more like 20-minute segment. Last segment of the night. I will say this before we get into it. I know the match is coming, and it's so funny because I thought for the first time, like I really, really thought and believed for the first time, I know the match is coming. I don't need any more hype. I don't need 40-minute segments. I don't need 20-minute segments of them talking. I want to see the other wrestlers wrestle. I want to see other wrestlers push their story. We've gone an entire year without seeing Roman Reigns on a weekly basis, and now we're seeing him on a weekly basis. And I'm just like, bro, just go to the PLE, just get a hotel in Philadelphia, and just freaking wait for your match, bro.
Just wait.
I don't need you on my screen right now. Like, I'm sorry. Like, I want to see these other wrestlers wrestle.
Well, and that's the thing. Like he's on there daily, but he's not doing anything. Like he barely had a couple words. Friday night.
Yep.
So what is it? He's just a face. just a face there. What the heck?
I mean, most of his words were "acknowledge us."
Yeah, that could have been
most
an email.
of what he had to say.
Could have been an email.
Can you imagine an email that says "acknowledge us"? What the hell does that mean?
Yo, it means I need to put in my 2 weeks.
You get that from your GM. Just acknowledge me. It's like, what?
All right.
Anyway, so
No, I'm good, bro.
Anyway, so yeah, so you can see the people in the crowd now. They're actually holding up the L sign. So now you're actually creating this division, and it's something that The Rock has been so good at over the years. Is like,
Now, before we go into this, and I made a mention of it. I don't know that I put it on the Facebook page, but I did put it in our group chat. What'd you think of Rocky's new intro? The lightning, and all that to it. I mean, it was still his same song, but the whole lightning bolts and then him appearing on it, and it's very him, in my opinion.
yeah, I made a note of it. I said it was the most narcissistic thing I've ever seen.
I agree, 100%.
I was like,
And
this
that's
is.
why I brought it up, bro.
That's Rocky. What do you expect? You can't expect anything less.
Almost,
you
like,
know.
I mean, it's like there's a lightning bolt coming down, going into where he was, and then he appeared in a lightning bolt. And I'm surprised that he didn't just have like a fake strudel with a lightning bolt shooting out the strudel or something. Like I don't like I just don't. Like,
Who's he think he thinks he's Black Adam again? I guess I don't know.
we got Black Adam at home. The Black Adam at home is The Rock's entrance.
No, it's fitting though. It is really fitting. This man's ego is literally bigger than WWE. I have to say it. His ego is it's that high. It's like, no, I'm above all of this. You hear how he talks. This
Well,
man
I mean,
is
going
literally-
into the promo, this whole promo spot here, he 100% believes he's bigger than the WWE.
Yeah.
I mean, everything he said points out that he believes he's bigger than the WWE.
fair. Yeah, it's true.
The Rock's your boss, remember?
So, and when he's coming out, man, he just doesn't get booed. Like, they only boo him for maybe 10 seconds. They'll boo him, and it's right back to Rocky.
Rocky.
I say, like,
what?
He's and the funny thing about it is, like, I noticed physically, like we talked about AJ's arms or whatever. Physically, The Rock is bigger than any damn wrestler on the roster right now, like muscular wise.
But the Rock, I think a lot of that is movie shape, not ring shape. It really looks like he's bulked, yes.
Mm-hmm.
But does Rocky have the agility, the stamina, all that he used to have? Can he still, make as many ring movements as he needs to be able to do what he's got to do compared to what he used to do? I mean, I know he's not going to be what he used to be. I get that. Right. I'm not looking for that. But I don't think he's in ring shape. I think he's in steroid-induced movie shape so he can go look good in Fast and the Furious movies carrying around a fucking minigun flying cars in space.
I mean, I don't know. I think this, honestly, I'm gonna say, I think this is Rocky just as strong, man. I think he's fit. I think he's still got it, because not even a couple of years ago, we talk about movie builds and stuff, it's the glamour muscles. This man's workout is still insane. Like, he works out his glamour muscles, but it's still like, it's still a healthy workout. It's still athleticism. Because what was that? What was this last 2 years ago? This man, he couldn't get out of his driveway, so he ripped the gate open.
Yep.
Like, excuse me, what?
He ripped the metal gate off of brick.
Yeah, off of brick. Like, excuse me, what are you doing? So I don't know about the agility, but I think he's still.
I mean, I'm not questioning the fact that The Rock is strong. The Brahma Bull is always going to be strong. You look at him, there's something there. I mean, they're not just balloons underneath his fucking shirt.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't know if he's ring shape. That's my thing, I don't want him to get in the ring here and it to be another, oh, look, I'm strong.
Right.
I don't care if you're strong, you know? If I wanted to see a strongman competition, I'd go watch the Mountain from fucking Game of Thrones hold airplanes with his nutsack or whatever the hell they do nowadays, you know? I want to see wrestling. I want to see something good.
I ain't gonna lie. I think The Rock ain't too far off from what you're talking about. But
Well,
I think when we see Rocky in action, this is going to be more of a powerhouse than anything, because I don't see the agility moves like we used to. I'm gonna run here, slide into the people's elbow. You're gonna get the rock bottom. I don't think we're seeing that no more.
I will say this: The Rock's been training since probably before Royal Rumble.
Mm-hmm.
So because of that, he will be in ring shape. How good will he be? I don't know, but he will definitely be in ring shape for WrestleMania. I promise you, The Rock always puts on a spectacle. I very much believe that he will be ready to go.
And if he's not, I will say maybe it's time for him to step out the ring. If he is not the way he looks now, I think if he doesn't show off or perform, it might be time for him to leave the ring alone.
Maybe. So we get Roman when The Rock gets in the ring. We have Roman say that greatness is standing before them, and he hugs The Rock and he says, "Acknowledge us." Acknowledge us.
Mm-hmm.
This is really good storytelling. If The Rock turns at WrestleMania, what the fans are seeing is within 3 or 4 SmackDowns, The Rock has already gotten into Roman's head.
Mm-hmm.
And now it's acknowledge us, not acknowledge me. You know what I mean? Like, he's already destroying Roman from the inside if The Rock if The Rock turns, which is just great.
I know. Yeah, I've noticed it.
Yeah.
It's like you say, he went from acknowledging me to acknowledge us. And I mean, you see how look at Rock standing next to Roman. Like, Rock, he exudes leadership. Like, he's like, I'm clearly the leader. Like, look at me. There's like Roman's here. He's a face, but what can he do with this? Nothing.
I mean, yeah, when you're right, you're right too. I mean, I don't know. I will say that, like, I know I just did a rant of how I don't need to see them on the screen, but I will say that I am enjoying the story at the same time. It's kind of like it's a double-edged sword almost, I guess you could say, or like a catch-22 or whatever. But Cody's music hits. He comes to the crowd. Seth is also seen coming down as we go to the commercial. When we come back, everybody's in the ring and they're facing off. Seth's jacket and glasses were weird as hell. But that's just Seth. I just wanted to make a quick note on that. Cody says we should pause and feel this. And a Rocky chant starts. Cody asks if The Rock has the authority to make that stipulation, which is a nod to Triple H and Stephanie, since Roman is the tribal chief. Cody tries to give his answer, but is interrupted by The Rock. The Rock explodes, tells Cody to shut up, and tells Seth to shut up before he even starts talking. So The Rock apparently felt the need to go through all of the stipulations again, which is classic. Man, that's classic mic work, so that's fine. But then the diarrhea chant starts. They chant diarrhea for a good, I'd say 15, 20 seconds, and then they start chanting Cody and Rocky. So again, they will boo The Rock, say negative chants to The Rock, but at the end of the day, they are still going to cheer for The Rock because they are stupid crackhead. No, I'm kidding. So anyway, The Rock is getting ready to ask Cody if he accepts the challenge, and then Seth, again, another example of interesting storytelling. Seth erupts in The Rock's face, calls him Mr. Midlife Crisis, says that they
Fantastic.
know
I like
that
that
the
one.
future of the industry is on the line, and tells him that he had his time and he can't have their time, and he accepts the match. Very interesting storytelling. It's showing the evolution of two gigantic egos. The Rock's gigantic ego getting into the head of the tribal chief Roman Reigns, to the point to where Roman is saying, acknowledge us. Roman is having kind of a confidence crisis. Instead of acknowledge me, saying acknowledge us, you know? And then you have Seth, who is like, has to steal this spotlight from Cody, because really this should all be about Cody, and he's accepting the match for Cody. He's accepting the stipulations for Cody's match on night 2. Now, obviously, they came to SmackDown to accept these stipulations, but it's just very interesting that Seth feels like he has to be the one to say yes. Very, very interesting.
And I want you to think about this. You know, the two main eventers for night 2 didn't have much to say. It was literally Rock and Seth.
Right.
Literally, which is crazy. So I wonder what they're gonna do with this.
Yeah, they're putting the spotlight on two people who have
Aren't even in it.
nothing to do with the main event of WrestleMania. And it's very crazy.
Right.
And it's very thought-provoking. And it makes you wonder where it's going to go. So Roman starts laughing at this and says Cody must be an idiot because he's going to let some random guy accept the match for him. And then he says the line, he says, you're going to let this cross-dresser accept the match for you? Which gets a pop. Some people boo, some people cheer. We'll get to that a little later. Rock says if Cody loses, Cody will never get another shot at the title and will make sure that Seth's title goes away.
Didn't he say at any title, not just the title? Or am I remembering it wrong?
I think he did say.
I think he said you'll never get a shot at any title.
Which is wild.
This is also calling back very deep storytelling, which I'm sure comes from Cody Rhodes. Because if you remember, Cody did the same thing in AEW. Cody put the stipulation that he can never go for the AEW Heavyweight Championship if he lost his match. And he lost his match, so he could never go for it again. I think that we're doing a yin and yang where Cody's probably going to win. That told me that Cody's probably going to win. That kind of took a lot of doubt out of my mind. But either way.
So that means Damian Priest is going to be the champion.
Do what?
Maybe.
I said, so that means Damian Priest is going to be the champion.
Could be.
Well, if we see, we'll say if we see our segment with Rock and Damian Priest talking, then yeah.
But then The Rock goes on this. He closes everything, talking to Cody. He says, you know, the High Chief. He says Roman's grandfather is looking down on us and he's smiling. The High Chief, Peter Maivia, is looking down on us and he's smiling. Your dad, Dusty Rhodes, is looking down on us. He says, Cody, isn't it true that you're the youngest of 3? Isn't it true that your sister was a Dallas Cowboys cheerleader? Isn't it true that your brother is a future Hall of Famer? Isn't it true that you are the youngest by 20 years? Cody says yes to all of these things, and The Rock says the reason for that age gap, the reason for that time gap is because you, Cody, were a mistake. And so Cody slaps The Rock, and that's how we go off air. And you know, Cody, The Rock slapped Cody at the preview, right? At the press conference. Because Cody said that their grandfathers would be ashamed of them. The High Chief would be ashamed of them. And I would have rathered Cody slap Rock off of a Dusty is looking down and he's ashamed of you, or he's not proud of you, or he'll never be proud of you, than a you were a mistake. Like, I just don't see that inciting the anger or the slap that came from. Like, it just didn't make sense to me. It felt lackluster to me. I felt like it could have been better. What did you guys think overall about the speech itself, and how did you feel specifically about the ending?
I will say the speech itself, it was kind of drawn out. You know, I will say the going into your sister's a Dallas Cowboy, your brother's a future Hall of Famer. You were saying it just seemed drawn out. It, like you said, it could have stopped at, you know, Dusty is looking down on you and he's disappointed, and the stop could have happened there, and it could have ended right there. It was okay, you know. It told a lot, it showed a lot, or maybe we're just looking too much into it, but at the same time, yeah, it was okay. You know, it was just drawn out, which I read reports that some people were upset because it went longer than it was supposed to. Because
there's a fan's camera image going around. It's a video of the camera crew doing this to The Rock because he was running so long.
Yeah, and I mean, yeah, it was just drawn out. Like, I don't know if I feel like he's going off the cuff. Like, he's just spouting this stuff out. So he took a little long with that, but other than that, it was okay.
I agree on it being okay. It wasn't anything crazy. It wasn't anything, you know, that we didn't expect. It was a lot of stirring the pot more than anything else, because you already knew the match was going to happen. I mean, there's no way that the match wasn't going to happen. We've been talking about it since the press conference. It's going to be there, period. We knew it already. The best thing that came from it is the memes. The internet likened the slap to Will Smith popping Chris Rock. There's a lot of keep my damn dog's name out of your mouth memes going around with the slap. But funny. Other than that, it really was, I don't know. I guess I can kind of go with my main run, and other than people wanting to sit there and pound their chest, could have been an email. Make it an after segment. Make it one of your fucking Twitter videos that they do 1 million of every year. You know, make it a TikTok video on somebody's channel. Yeah. It didn't need to take up the space that we could have put another match in on SmackDown. It really didn't.
Apparently, there was supposed to be another segment with Naomi and Bianca and Bayley, but it got pushed because it just took so long, especially with Roman's entrance and then Rocky's entrance. Now, maybe this is on purpose to make it look like, you know, Rocky has full control over everything. You know, he can do what he wants. Maybe that's what it's supposed to look like, but yeah, I don't know. It was just.
I mean, he definitely thinks he can do what he wants.
Seems like it.
Fair. Overall, my opinion, I mean, it did what it was supposed to do, I guess. It moved the story. SmackDown obviously ends. Bayley versus Dakota Kai is the only match approved or announced for next week, and then Rey Mysterio will be there in action, as it was mentioned earlier by, I believe, G I think, or Trish. One of y'all mentioned that.
Not G.
So some quick news about It's All a Work. So first thing is that we are now officially on Spotify. So in addition to being on YouTube, in addition to this great production that you are currently seeing being on YouTube, it will now be on Spotify, posting on the same day. So this should be uploaded tomorrow around 12-ish or so. You should be able to listen to it on your way to work, on your way to another state, while you're in an airplane, or anywhere that you would listen to a podcast on Spotify, though. We'll be trying to get to the other ones at some point. It's just, that's all making accounts and doing that kind of stuff. Things I'm working on in the background. Outside of that, all of our socials, including the Spotify one, are now on our link tree. And again, our link tree is at the top of the chat. Please check that out. Follow everything. We have different sources of news coming from different areas. Each one of us runs a different social, and we try to be active on each other's socials. It's only 3 of us running this thing right now, so we're very much bare bones, I guess you would call it, kind of doing it, ground floor, whatever you would say. So yeah, anything that y'all can follow, like, subscribe, share, comment, everything puts us in the algorithm and really helps us out. For Raw, Dresh mentioned Raw. So for Raw tomorrow, the review on that is going to happen Wednesday the 13th at 8 p.m. Some of us have some prior commitments that we have to attend to, so we are going to do it a day early, and we will be posting everywhere about that, so you don't want to miss that either. And lastly, I put it in the chat, the interview with local indie wrestler Big Ace Montana is on YouTube. It was our first post on Spotify, so please check that out. That is a big one for us. It's a big win for us. I would like to get to a point to where we're doing interviews every month, but I have to find a wrestler to interview. So if y'all know a wrestler, let me know. So the spiel: if you want good news, you come to us, and you can't teach that. If you want good reviews, you come to us, and you can't teach that. If you want good interviews, you come to us, and you can't teach that. Bada boom, realest podcast in the room. Y'all have a good night. We will see you on Wednesday.